clean girl drugstore makeup look. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name's Janelle. I'm a professional makeup artist and content creator, and I'm so excited to be filming this look right here. I actually got this request today and I was like, you know what, that sounds exactly like something I want to film on a Sunday afternoon. Right before going grocery shopping, rock like a clean girl, minimal makeup, affordable look. Consider subscribing if you want to see more content from me. I love you guys, and let's get right into this video. This was also the perfect day to film this because I'm currently oiling my hair. So I have it slicked back, taking my Pacifica Dream Lit Glow concealer and coating both sides of a flat definer / concealer brush. And I'm gonna do a line straight across so that that part's nice and even. Then we're gonna go to the arch of my good brow, which is this one, and I do a line straight across there. There is where I will conceal the bottom part of the brow. I find that clean girl makeup, it's less physical product, but it still takes time to do because you're very intentional with the products that you are using. That way you're not globbing on too much. And so techniques like this that take a little bit longer are worth it because then your brows can look good with less brow product. This Pacifica Dream Lit Concealer is so gorgeous. The consistency reminds me a lot of my Tower 28 concealer that I love. And see, once you do that, now it makes it obvious, like the little space here that I need to fill in, the little gap here. It really maps out the brow shape for you so that you don't even have to think about it. Speaking of being intentional with product, I'm also gonna take a little bit of my Physicians Formula corrector. My under eyes right here are so dark. And I feel like even when I use a full coverage concealer, you can still see that peeking through. So I'm gonna layer a tiny bit of this corrector. That way I don't have to layer as much concealer. And I'm just gonna lay it down there. I'm not gonna blend it out just yet. I'm gonna let it sit. This is more of like a serum-like consistency, so it's super lightweight. It's not gonna look heavy. Perfect if you want to correct your under eyes, but you don't want it to look heavy under there. All right, back to my brows. Following the direction of my brow hairs and just lightly filling in wherever it's sparse. It's funny because whenever I think of clean girl, I think of my grandma. She's been rocking the clean girl aesthetic before it was even a thing. From the slick back hair to like the glazed donut nails, minimal glowy makeup. I'm telling you, she's the OG clean girl. These are two of my favorite brow gels for locking the brows in place all day. The Ardell Brow Glue is no joke. It will keep your brows in place for like 3 days. The brow lamination also lays the brow hairs down really nice, but it will still keep some movement. It's not gonna like literally glue them in place. I think I'm gonna go with the Ardell today just because my brows I feel like are looking a little stubborn. I'm gonna lightly coat just the hair and I'm gonna try my best not to touch the skin. That way I don't move around that brow product. Lightly brush this upward. Ooh, this brow is looking good. The other brow, not so much. Now that that's done, tapping in the corrector, being very intentional where I'm tapping. That way I'm not moving it around too much. See how the color just cancels out that blue undertone? The product itself is super sheer and like literally offers no coverage, but that color is what neutralizes it. I need a bronzy all over glow. It's crazy because Alex and I went to Punta Cana for a wedding, and then we also celebrated his 30th birthday there. I got so tan. My tan is already gone. I mean, I feel like my body stayed really tan, but my face is pale. So I'm gonna use a little bit of my Physicians Formula Butter Glow. This is very similar to like the Drunk Elephant de-bronzy drops that everybody loves, except this is a fraction of the price. I like the consistency of this one. I don't know if you can see, the color is really pretty. I'm gonna do a couple of drops of that on the face and blending that out with this e.l.f. liquid blush brush, lightly pressing that into the skin. Similar to the corrector, it's like the color is what's gonna give me some coverage, although the product itself is literally like a serum. But that color will help camouflage some of the blemishes and imperfections in the skin. Also, I moisturized my skin with the Rocheposay triple moisturizer, which you can also get from the drugstore. It's like a jumbo bottle too, so it lasts such a long time. Look at the glow this product leaves the skin. I really like this CoverGirl. It's like a skin tint. Super lightweight. I think I'm gonna go in with just a tiny bit of this in the center of my face. It's super lightweight and it like blurs the skin too. So picking up a little on the back of my hand, I'm gonna work it into that stippling brush. Now just like dot it in this part of the face. Spreading it out with this brush first. Now pushing it into the skin with the e.l.f. brush. It just added a tiny bit more coverage. It gives like the perfect amount of coverage. It comes out kind of like a serum. You rub it in, it just melts and like smooths out the skin and gives it such a hydrated, glowy, beautiful finish. Very similar to like a Chanel product. For bronzer, I really have been loving the new e.l.f. liquid contours. These are very full coverage though, so I think instead I'm gonna go in with the Milani. This is the Cheek Kiss cream bronzer. The shade Spilling Tea is so perfect for me. It reminds me so much of my Chanel Teint de Soleil bronzer, and you can see the tones are very, very similar and they melt into the skin pretty similarly. Chanel one is a little bit more smoothing, but I mean, for like, I don't know how much this is, like $8 or $9 versus 50, I'll take it. And I'm gonna work that into the downside of my e.l.f. contour brush. I have been loving this brush. If you're on the hunt for like a good, affordable drugstore brush that like could literally do everything, get this one. Blush, foundation, contour. By bronzing my forehead first, laying it down with that dense side. Pressing it along the cheek. I'm gonna keep it a little bit higher above the cheekbone. That way by the time I blend it out, it falls like in the perfect contour area. Then I'm only bringing that toward like the start of my eye. Keep the face nice and lifted. Inside of the brush to blend those edges. Also working some along the jawline. Currently have some home renovations going on right now. I can't wait to show you guys. But if you hear like a wall being drilled into in the background, that's what that is. We just updated our upstairs bathroom, which I was so excited about. It's like exactly how I want it. And then we also updated our kitchen a little bit more. We had updated it when we first moved into our home, but there were some parts that we didn't do right away, and we were like, okay, we'll get to it eventually, and now it was eventually. So we're like, okay, we finally like painted our cabinets, switched out the hardware, and I love it because our house was built in 1941, so it's 80 years old. One thing I love about homes in Connecticut and in New England in general is the charm and character, and so I didn't want to do updates that were going to like make it look too modern. I wanted to keep that charm, that traditional feel to it. So with a lot of the updates, I ended up using pieces that I'm like, okay, this, you would see this in a home in 1941, and I mixed with a little bit of modern touches. So excited to see it all come together. We are adding a bathroom downstairs. And for that bathroom, we're making it a little bit more modern just because Alex really wanted it to feel like a resort bathroom. But we kind of like met somewhere in the middle, and I was like, okay, I'll let you have some of your more modern touches in here. I want my home to feel like I'm at somebody's grandma's house. It's just so comforting. I've always been that way though, since I was a kid. I don't know any 8-year-old that is like admiring crown molding and trim around windows like I was. So anyways, I'm very excited, and I can't wait to show you guys like how it all came together. And I feel like how we did it was smart because we kind of did it in phases. Like when we first moved in, we did some updates, and then we were just like, okay, the rest is livable. Like we don't need to gut everything all at once. And I'm also glad we didn't do the updates right away because my style when we first moved in was so different than how it was now. I would have made everything just like completely whitewashed and boring. Picking up more bronzer with literally the entire brush. I'm just gonna stamp that down the center of my nose, and that will kind of contour it, and then I'll clean that up with concealer after. I'm also gonna tap some along the eyelids, look that out, and work that into the bronzer that we brought back here. I kind of create a T with the eyeshadow contour. Like I'll bring it down my nose, and then literally from that stripe, bring it across my eye, back into here. Same thing on this side, because then with concealer, I'll separate everything. And the key is to work the product into the brush. That way you're not globbing on too much on your face and it just melts right in. This is looking pretty. I'm gonna take a little bit of that contour with a pencil brush. Very lightly apply that to the lash line. I don't know what I want to do. We got like the Milani. This is like a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Pinkasm blush. Should I do that and keep it super glowy? Or I got these Milani liquid blushes. I have like a blondie color, like a blush slash bronzer. What do we want to do? I think what I'll do is I'll try one of the blonding colors, and then if I want to add like a blushy highlight, I'll go in with these. Right now I just kind of want to experiment. I mean, by no means do you have to do both. Ooh, the shade Nude Kiss looks pretty, but would that even show up on my skin? And these are the Milani Cheek Kiss liquid blushes. This color looks gorge. Oh my gosh, for this time of year, stop it right now. You could toss that on the eyes. That first e.l.f. brush that we use for the foundation, work it into the tip of it. I'm using both those shades, but you really don't have to. I'm just doing it because they were both on my hand. And I'm gonna focus it like on this eye area, tapping it in place there. Tap, 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 tap. And then once that's all blended, bring that in toward the nose. Ooh, this is so pretty. This is exactly what I need. This is like giving my skin that sun-kissed look that I won't have for the next few months. Which, call me a sociopath. Just kidding, don't call me that. Words are powerful. But anyways, lately I've actually been liking the colder, darker days. I don't know why. It's just like so cozy to me. I feel like I tricked my brain over the past few years to not get seasonal depression and to just like look forward to this time of year, being able to wind down early and kind of taking pressure off of myself to feel like I gotta go. If it's dark by 5 o'clock and I got most of my work done, I can unwind for the day. You know what I mean? Another thing that I have found helps with my seasonal, I don't get seasonal depression anymore. Thank Jesus. But one thing that did help with it, one thing that helps keep me like motivated during this time of year is going to the gym. I'm gonna add a little bit of the Milani Cheek Kiss Liquid Blush Glow in Luminoso, the iconic Luminoso. Bringing that into the same brush, and we're gonna tap this a little higher up. Ooh, that's so pretty. But yeah, I found that going to the gym like around 5 o'clock every day helps because you can't realize it's dark outside if you're inside working out. You know what I mean? Definitely recommend that if you're somebody that gets really bad seasonal depression. Make it a thing to like go to the gym. It helps more if you're working out with somebody too. I feel like going by yourself can sometimes be hard, but if you're meeting up with like a group of friends or you're working out with your partner, it's definitely fun. It makes the time of year less depressing. I feel like I want a little more color. Or should I just leave it? I feel like I'm doing too much. I'm gonna add a little bit of the Pacifica Dreamlit Glow to the under eyes. I love how full coverage this concealer is, but it is so glowy. Focus it in here. I'm not gonna blend it out right away. The nose to help like contour that area. I'm gonna coat both sides of this concealer brush and then literally only using that skinny tip. That's what I'm gonna use to kind of highlight down the nose. A little around the mouth. And I do like to do a tiny bit under here. All right, I'm gonna blend out this area because I don't like when it's too harsh. With the concealer brush, being very precise and intentional, I'm very lightly tapping out the edges, like the very edges, and then I'll bring that down the sides of my nose. And kind of in this area here. I've been obsessed with Autumn Jazz Radio on Pandora. She's so calm. It's literally what I'll listen to. It's what I have on right now. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted. I have it on super low. It just keeps me so relaxed. I'll like play it in my car on Sundays when I'm grocery shopping. And I just feel like I'm living in a little movie when I'm listening to it. Now taking my beauty sponge with no product, I'm gonna blend out the edges so that everything is very seamless. The same thing on this side, tapping out the edges first, lightly bringing that down the nose. Keeping my hand very far down on the barrel because I don't want to apply too much pressure, and I'm just doing really light, swift little tapping / sliding motions. Spread the edges of that product across the face, but not touching this area where I want the most coverage because I want that to dry down. When I get to this area, I'm just kind of like pressing in place. Now when I'm in this area, I'm gonna press in place. Thank you, Jesus. Praise you, Lord. Taking the very tip of my brush, just lightly tapping over that little line down the nose. Not really moving it around at all. Now that that's in place, I'm not gonna be setting all over the skin, but to add a little bit extra coverage under my eyes without going in with like more concealer, I'm gonna use a foundation powder. And I feel like when you think of clean girl, you don't think of foundation powder, but I'm just gonna take a little bit of this L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear 24-hour foundation powder with a small fluff brush, coating both sides of my brush. And that's what I'm gonna use to set my under eyes so that they're like locked in place. I get more coverage, but I don't need more concealer or anything. So yeah, that's gonna give like a really pretty smoothed out finish. Only focusing it in that center area because I want the glow kind of everywhere else. I will put like a little bit between my brows and slightly above my brows, but I really want to maintain that glow everywhere else. So pretty. For bronzer, to kind of set the areas that we use a cream bronzer, I'm going to take my Revolution Bronzer Reloaded Long Weekend Bronzer. This reminds me so much of my favorite Hourglass Ambient Bronzer. The color, the tones, very similar. The Hourglass one like blurs and melts into the skin a little bit more, but this one gives you a very similar effect for $8 versus $58. So I will happily take the slight difference. Picking that up with my tapered e.l.f. brush. I'm gonna coat all sides of the brush, lightly tapping and pulling back toward the hairline, all the areas that we applied that cream bronzer. See how this helps keep that glow? So pretty. If you want something less glowy, you can go in with the bronzer that I haven't shut up about for like 10 years. The Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. It's so good. You'll get the glow, but it won't be too glowy. It's more of like a satin finish. If you have oily skin, highly recommend this one. For me though, I'm in Connecticut right now, which is very dry at the moment. It's honestly not even that cold outside. It's like 60 degrees, but my skin feels so tight. The air has just officially changed. However, if I was still living in Florida, I would definitely be grabbing for the Physicians Formula one over this one. When I get to the cheek, I'm just pressing it in place first and then working that in. Now for blush, this isn't drugstore, but it is pretty affordable. Another good like drugstore option would be the Kokie Soft Gradient blushes, but I really wanted to use the Sephora blush in the shade Flirt It Up, and I like it because it's slightly matte, but it's sheer. And because I have a lot of other glowy products going on the face, I feel like it's a good balance. So I'm gonna focus this right in this region, press, and then sweep it in. A little bit more of that foundation powder, blending that around the mouth, and then also using that to just kind of diffuse some of that blush out. My favorite thing to do, especially for like very lightweight makeup, if you want the perfect tone for your eye, take whatever bronzer you use, pick it up on a fluffy brush, and then also dab into a little bit of whatever blush you use. Tap that on your lid first, and then whatever's left, you're just gonna sweep up into the crease. It just gives you the perfect flush so that the tones all kind of marry throughout your face. And you can kind of blend it back to those shades. That is my wall being drilled into. I bet you those are my lights. Ooh, we also got so much stuff from... Okay, so speaking of that noise that you hear in the background, he's drilling in a hole for my sconces that are gonna go on both sides of the mirror down there. And we got them from Amazon. Honestly, a lot of the hardware, the lights, fixtures, Amazon, and they look so good. So if you guys wanna see a Amazon, sorry if that's distracting, but if you guys wanna see like an Amazon home video of like things like that, I can definitely film that. Milani Make It Last Setting Spray. I love this because we have a lot of the glowy products. This will help make everything last all day, but it also helps melt it into the skin really nice. I love the mist on this. I'm gonna drench my face in this. Taking my NYX Line Loud lip pencil, I'm going to very lightly apply this to the last third of the top lash line. This is a lip pencil, but I love it as eyeliner because it's like the perfect warm brown. The perfect way to give the eye definition without it being obvious that you're wearing a liner. Was it not recording that whole time? And now I quickly just applied a little bit of Aquaphor healing ointment to my lashes instead of using mascara to give them that lift without needing to go in with product. I like to curl my lashes before doing that. You don't have to. My lashes just naturally grow straight down and they literally don't show if I have nothing in them. So this helps me get away with no mascara while still having a little lift and flare to my lash. Actually gonna curl them one more time too. And I kind of like it when it transfers to the lid. It gives you that kind of like wet glossy lid look. For lip liner, I'm gonna use ColourPop BFF2. I was looking for BFF3, but I have no idea where I put it. I literally just had it. It's fine. It's really not that serious. I wanted to add a little bit of this Maybelline Superstay Heady Tint in the shade Petal Core. Tiny bit to the center of the lid and blend it in. Topping it with the Revolution Pout Balm, shade Milky Sheer Hollow. I'm gonna add a little bit to the center. Ooh, this is such a pretty color. You really want to make the look extra natural. Take a brown eye pen. This one's by Kat Von D, but you can find any of these from the drugstore. Really doesn't matter. You're just gonna do a couple little freckles on the face very lightly and tap that in with your finger. Blend it out. And voila, this is the completed drugstore clean girl makeup look. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did like it, give it a thumbs up. As always, everything will be linked down below. As you can see, these products are beautiful and they're drugstore. Consider subscribing if you want to see more content from moi. I love you guys and I'll see you next time.